Here. Hello. Hello. You guys hearing me? Hello. Hello. Hello, hello. I heard you, but did you hear me? Hello. Hello, hello. Hello. I'm right here. Hello. Hello. Later. Are you there now? Okay, good. Okay. Yep. Okay, we're there. All right, good. Whew. Well, that was close. Hi, everybody. Hi. Hey. This is the week after Thanksgiving. How was everybody's Thanksgiving? My Thanksgiving was wonderful, and I hope yours was too. And actually, I heard from a number of people from over the week that they heard my show about the last week about like maybe taking it easy and taking a break from some things and just my perspectives on Thanksgiving, and they said, you know what, that really helped. So I've gotten some good feedback that you're out there listening to me. I can I can hear you breathing. You're out there. So hi, this is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority. The call-in number is 313-272-5600. And give me 1 second here. Let me get this going. Okay. So I've got some questions that I've had come in over the week that I'm going to answer. But again, to answer your questions, if you want to call in, it's 313-272-5600. I'm actually answering your questions on health and life and all kinds of things, because life is health. And there's so many things that go into this life of health, a healthy life. And there's so much information out there that a lot of times, it's kind of like when there's movies out there, it's really helpful to have a reviewer, a person to kind of say, you know what, I don't think it's worth your time, or you know what, I think you should do this. And that's kind of what I am, is I'm a person that's gone through all this different information and things like that. And I've been doing this for 25 years, so I can tell you a lot of truth and a lot of experimentation, as well as just a lot of empirical evidence from people's lives and things like that. So this first question that I got is on bone health. I've got a lady, it says Betty, who's age 75. She says, what can I do to keep my bones strong? Well, bone strong. There's a lot of commercials out there for these little pills, this one little pill that you take, once a month or once a year, and it's going to be, how does that even work? That doesn't make sense. There's got to be, it's like got to be robbing Peter to pay Paul, and it actually is. And what happens is these bone density increasing drugs, what they do is they rob minerals from your muscles. And because you have minerals in your muscles as well. But then when it rebuilds the calcium, it's not really even full calcium. It just hardens the bones, and it makes the bones like concrete. And so when grandma does fall, instead of it just breaking, it shatters. And that's not a good idea. Well, let me get into bone health. What is aging bone? What is brittle bones? And again, where does it go? If people are losing bone, in particular, the most noticeable bone that people notice that they are losing bone is in their face, is around their eyes, is around their jaw, is around their nose. So that's the reason why the wrinkles appear around the eyes. It's not just the sagging skin. It's because you've lost architecture around your eye orbits. And you'll notice that the ears, a lot of times people even hearing problems, whether it be tinnitus and ringing in the ears and stuff like that, really just because you've had so much bone loss that the whole architecture of the audio canal is collapsing in on the eardrums, and it's pinching the blood vessels and things like that. So, well, where did it go? Where did all these bones go? Your body used it for infection. Minerals are the number one thing that your nervous system uses, and the number one thing that gets used is the emergency system. So your body is going to send minerals to feed your immune system to keep you from getting infection or to fight infection and things like that. So if you listen to my show enough, like it's almost like the canned answer for everything is infection, and it really is. And the more that we understand about what's called gut dysbiosis and the whole gut biology and things, it's all just foreign invaders. If people kind of wonder, it's like, when are we going to have the aliens come? The aliens done come. The aliens are inside of us. We're talking bacteria and virus, and even our own body is mostly alien in terms of the good bacteria that digest our food and keeps our immune system. So our immune system is this, really, it's a negotiation with all these different beings to do what they do. Well, we can have these beings that overpower us and take over and start eating all kinds of things in our body. And so our body then uses the minerals in order to be the cash to pay the workers. That's what it really comes down to, is cellular metabolism. I'm this is a health radio show where I'm talking, but I get into the real, like a doctor would listen to this and go, wow, like that's really informative. Like that's what it really is. I'm telling you the latest, greatest of what we understand, but I make it practical. So practically, what does that mean is, as we get older, what we see is the aging process. Is it really age, or is it just damage? And if people were not so damaged, or if people healed the damage, would they look as old? No, they would not look at old. If you see me on Facebook, I'm 50 years old, and I have so many people tell me, oh my God, your skin looks great. You do not look 50. I look like 38 or something. I do, but I used to look older than I do right now. And I'm telling you, it was minerals, minerals, minerals. So number one, supporting the minerals. That's when Dr. Marshall, and I listened to Dr. Marshall. I was a patient of Dr. Marshall, and I am a student of Dr. Marshall. I am a what's called a QRA referral practitioner. So he will tell people on the radio, go see Jason. So, but if you listen to Dr. Marshall over and over again, it's minerals. And so your pH, meaning, are you too acidic on the inside? What makes you most acidic? So bone health is your bad eating, number one. If we've eaten a lot of the fake foods, that's what's messing up our gut. And then the body sends in all this inflammation and stuff like that. So what's the bad foods? Number one, fried foods, crappy foods, boxed foods, the cakes and cookies and all the convenience stuff. You can't go wrong by making your own food. You can't go wrong by making soups. People go, I don't have time. Everyone's got a crock pot. You can get a crock pot. You can go and get these crock pot things at at the thrift store for next to nothing. Most of the time people are throwing them away. You can always have a crock pot going and have just a bunch of vegetables and salt and pepper and water. That's all you need. And I'm telling you what, you can feast on that. Add a little bit of meat in there if you want, or you don't have to add meat. You can just, and the vegetables are celery and carrots and onions and garlic and all kinds of just squash, yellow squash, tend towards going more towards the lower carbohydrates. But you can throw in potatoes and stuff like that. But again, just feast on more homemade vegetables type of thing and cut out the fake fats. Number two is taking some pH minerals. pH minerals is, there's these drops that Premier Research Labs makes that are really great. It's this old Dead Sea stuff that is just in a liquid form. You just put a few squirts into your water, and now you're getting your minerals. And really the high-powered, just wonderful bioavailable minerals. Then another thing is D3. D3 with K2. So we make D3 from being out in the sunshine. So if you live in Florida or something like that, boy, get out there and walk outside. Okay? Walking is a thing. It's just walking, whether you're here or you're walking in the mall or something like that here in Michigan. Walking, the more stress that you put on your bones, the more that they say, hey, I really need to build myself to be ready for this. So bone remodeling is based upon stresses. And the stress is also of weight bearing. Grandma, you can grab some soup cans out of your kitchen and do some, arm lifts, and you can do some whatever you can do. If you are having difficulty standing up from, a sitting position, then, get a chair or something like that you can kind of grab, and then, up and down and up and down. Use your own weight, but if you could add some other weights, what it does is it really maintains the bones and rebuilds the bones up. So, this is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority, and I'm going to take a commercial break right now, and we'll be right back. Okay?
Are you trying to cope with depression or anxiety? Is your tummy always upset? If your body could talk to you, what would it tell you? Well, it does talk to you. It's the listening part that's tricky. But not with the amazing biocommunication technique, QRA, quantum reflex analysis, the highly effective system by which your body can communicate its true needs. Jason Eagle of Strategic Healing in Auburn Hills is your natural health authority, and he is the expert in using QRA to get to the root of your health issues, then develop the plan to get you back to feeling great again. Find out what's really happening with your body with your in-depth QRA evaluation with Jason Eagle. Call 734-985-5891 for your appointment with Jason at Strategic Healing in Auburn Hills. It'll change your life for the better. Call at 5891 today.
Okay, everybody. Hey, I'm back from commercial break, and yes, I am Jason Eagle, QRA, and LMT, which means I'm a licensed massage therapist, and I'm a body worker, and my practice is I'll do everything. I'll do everything from I will work on you, I'll manipulate your body, I will talk to you, I will listen to you, many people that go to many other practitioners or a doctor, it's like, it was 7 minutes, that was it? You didn't hear my whole story. If it takes 2 hours, I'll sit there and listen to you, but I won't just listen to you. I'll feed into, oh yeah, and it's like a conversation where you're talking with like a really close friend that has had something like everything that you've experienced, and it helps. And many times people in the intake go, "How did you know that?" And I'll kind of finish their sentences for them, and because I've been through this so much, so. We've got another question here. Now, the phone number to call in is 313-272-5600. You can also go to my Facebook Live. I'm on Facebook Live right now. My page, which is Strategic Healing, and you can send in comments and questions and stuff there. I've got some people watching me right now. So even the radio show, if you ever want to re-listen to these shows again, because you can't re-listen to the radio again, but you can find me on YouTube, Jason Eagle QRA. I also post these on YouTube, and you can find me on my Facebook page, Strategic Healing, and these are recorded in perpetuity forever. So what was that? What did he say again? You can re-listen and get back to it. So my second question here is, I've got a lady, Terry of, I think it's a lady, Terry 40, says, my fingers and nails peel. I don't use polish. How can I make them stronger? Well, that's a good point that she brings up polish, right? Because people kind of go, what does the difference of polish make? Oh my goodness, polish makes such a huge difference, because you'll notice that the polish is very dangerous. I am really against nail polish, because most of the nail polishes uses this acrylic, very toxic compounds, toluene, which is this very toxic chemical. They just use a little bit, Jason. I don't care. A little bit, and you're sitting in that place. The levels of lung cancer and other cancer of nail workers in nail salons, that's why they wear their masks, but the masks do nothing. It's very, very dangerous. And when you put it on your fingernails, many of these chemicals leach directly into your bloodstream. And that's part of what it does, is it blocks, it toxifies your fingers, your fingertips, which goes in directly into your bloodstream. But it also blocks oxygen. So the nail polish, as well as the paste on nails, you got to let your nails breathe, because the oxygen there's oxygen that goes into there, and that we think that nails are dead. They're not. Nails are alive. Nails are alive. They are these live living tissues that are responsive and everything like that. So, but one of the big things in terms of, let's say a person, like she says, I've never worn nail polish. I've got these brittle nails. Well, she probably also has thin hair too, because brittle nails and thin hair are an indication of two things. Number one, minerals. That's what your body makes the nails out of, silica and keratin and these things, these minerals. And so, again, what I said last, which is getting your pH minerals, getting a whole food-based mineral type of thing, like, for instance, the greens mix that we have, or the, even better, the fermented greens, which is all of these great grasses that have been fermented, and they're turned into a form like what a cow would, which is it actually increases the amount of antioxidants and nutrients that are in that grass than was in the grass in the beginning. It's amazing how God has made us. This is the miracle of fermenting. The fermenting process is taking something and making something more of what it is. Okay, and I do have a person also on Facebook that also chimed in on this. Is what do the moons or lack of moons on nail beds mean? And I'll get to that because they're a related thing too. Which is, so the brittle nails is not enough minerals. So we need to stop taking mineral blocking things. Sometimes you'll find people that are, for instance, on some calcium channel blockers and things like that. That can really mess that up. So having enough minerals in your diet. The other thing is that it is in Chinese medicine. The nails are an indication of the liver. So we can take, so we got liver congestion. So we can take liver ND, and that will help to, or the gallbladder ND, this liquid, these great liver herbs. It helps to clean up the liver and things like that. I do have a phone call here, so let's go ahead and go to the phone lines. Go ahead, caller. Hey, that's okay. You can. Carol, yes, okay. Okay, right. Correct. And there is some alternate. Now, you have to, I will tell you that if you are a person that has a weakened constitution, meaning you're kind of older and things like that, I would not mess around with doing the natural stuff. It really is safer to take the antibiotics. But if you're relatively healthy, what do I mean by relative? You can get up and walk around. You can, climb, 5 flights of steps with, of 20 to 30 steps at a time without, losing your breath and stuff like. You're a normal human being, then you're fine. And what we can do is we can take what's called the nucleotides. Premier research labs make the nucleotides. Nucleotides are what your DNA is made out of. So you're giving yourself a whole bank of kind of like extra building blocks for when that damage kind of comes in. That helps to also go to your immune system. I would take the alicidin, that's the garlic. That's going to go after the bacterial stuff. I would also take the immunoven, that's going to go after some viral type of things, which is basically, it's just really giving your body a whole lot of pre-stuff. Because what they're trying to do is they're just trying to bring the level of infection down, because they're going to clean the infection out and they just don't want it to go deeper into the bloodstream. So if you saturate the body with these great anti-infectives, there is a couple other things that come from standard process that I also recommend. There is a kind of a pre-dental protocol. One is taking Congaplex and Thymex. And I think you do 5 of the Congaplex, 10 of the Congaplex and 10 of the Thymex at the same time. It sounds like a lot of stuff to take, but like you said, they really are recommending that you're doing, that you should do the antibiotics. And these are natural antibiotics, and you should take their advice and do this. But the point is that you're trying to do it naturally. These are things that are not going to kill your natural biome. So it's a good idea to avoid the antibiotics when you can. And there are some good replacements if you are strong enough and healthy enough. But good luck with that. Go ahead. It's from Standard Process, and one's called Thymex, Thymex, and then the other one's called Congaplex, Congoplex. And it's 10. Go ahead. Kind of, yeah, they are. But it's funny when you look at the ingredients, you're like, how is this even possible? Because it's like carrots and wheat germ and and other stuff. And it's whole foods, and it also has the Thymex actually has some bovine thymus in it. It actually has some organ glandulars, which I find that there's a place for that. And so literally, you are taking a super healthy animal gland, which would produce your antibiotics, and you're basically seeding it into your body, and it's just about giving your body just this perfect building blocks and information of like, oh, what does a perfect immune system look like? And that's a good preparation for that. I really do recommend that, especially now that you've got a little bit of time, and then you continue it afterwards. Um, uh, yeah, at least 2 weeks afterwards. You stay on this protocol at least 2 weeks afterwards, and then it will make sure that your healing process is really, because if you're doing implants, you really want to make sure that that bone is good and stable. And it's the infection that's unstabilizing the bone. And because there are times when if the bone's not stable enough, then the implant won't hold and it will crack in there. Now, I'm sure you're going to a good person and they would have recommended some bone grafting if you needed it. So if they didn't say any bone grafting, then it's good. It's healthy enough. It's just this infection is a real concern, and they just really want to cover their bases. So I think you can do it. All right. You're welcome. Okay. All right. Bye-bye. Okay. We're got one. Well, I got another question. Let me see. Did I answer that brittle nail? Oh, let me go back to that one about the moons on the nail beds. Okay. A lot of people look at their nails, and it's those little half moons that you see on the back of your nails, and it's like some people have them, and some people they're really big, and some people don't have them at all. And quite frankly, they are an indication of health. And part of it is they're kind of a bloodstream thing. So they if you have good big moons, very visible moons, like you see my thumb, I got a big one right there. You got a good healthy cardiovascular system. And it also too is that's what's called the nail bed. That's where the nail grows from. So as it shrinks back, you're not producing as much healthy nails. So the moons are an indication of the health of the nail bed, but it's also the health of the nutrition that's going to your fingers. And if it's going to your fingers, then it's going to your whole rest of your body. So a lot of times it indicates that we need to have more blood flow, increase the blood flow. Sometimes that's where the garlic comes in, because the garlic is a natural kind of blood thinner. Sometimes the nitric oxide is needed, and we have fermented beets for that. So if anyone's interested in your cardiovascular person, your heart doctor really wants to increase the nitric oxide levels, it's this fermented beet powder. If you are an athlete or a brand new athlete and you really want to get the most out of your workout and build your muscles and build up your endurance, nitric oxide is the key, and it's fermented beets that we can do. Then I have that in the office. So any of these things that I talk about, if you really want to get them, you can get a hold of me and I can ship them to you, or you can come to the office and all these great things. So I am going to take another break here, and I'll see you in a second.
How long have you been struggling with your health issues? Are you still living in pain? What kind of skin irritations do you have? Eczema, rashes, acne? Is your energy level in the basement? Are you trying to cope with depression or anxiety? Is your tummy always upset? If your body could talk to you, what would it tell you? Well, it does talk to you. It's the listening part that's tricky. But not with the amazing biocommunication technique, QRA, quantum reflex analysis, the highly effective system by which your body can communicate its true needs. Jason Eagle of Strategic Healing in Auburn Hills is your natural health authority, and he is the expert in using QRA to get to the root of your health issues, then develop the plan to get you back to feeling great again. Find out what's really happening with your body with your in-depth QRA evaluation with Jason Eagle. Call 734-985-5891 for your appointment with Jason at Strategic Healing in
Hi there, this is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority. The number to call in is 313-272-5600. You can go to my Facebook Live that you can see me right now. I'm waving at you. And that is Strategic Healing. That's my Facebook page. So I got another question here, and this is Beth. This is Joe, who is 55 and suffering from chronic sciatica. Should I use hot or cold? Well, let me get into that because, first of all, what is sciatica? A lot of people have dealt with it, heard it before, had a friend, and it's that back pain, or it's that pain that gets down to, usually gets in like a butt cheek, goes down your right butt cheek or your left butt cheek and go all the way down to the back of your knee. It can come, there's all these patterns. It can go down the leg, it can be just in the back, it can just be in like that, right deep in the butt cheek, which is typically, that's what's called false sciatica, because true sciatica is coming from the sciatic nerve, which is actually coming from up in the low back and then radiating down to the sciatic nerve. So that's the source of the pain, is coming from right at the backbone. But probably 2/3 of the time, it's actually coming from a muscle deep in the butt called piriformis, and that's pinching on the sciatic nerve. So, what do we do, hot or cold? Well, this is a unique answer, which is it's both. It's actually both, and maybe you're just putting one in the wrong place. So if we have sciatica and it's coming from the low back, then typically that means it's coming from an inflamed disc, and your disc is hot and swollen up, and that's what's stretching on the nerves. So that's where you put cold. You put cold right at your low back. And sometimes this is enough, just doing the cold, and you'll notice that the pain will then go away going down in the leg or down in the butt. And if that's true, if we put cold right, you should always start with cold there, right at the low back. I recommend people like using cold, get the cold packs or a bag of peas or something like that, and get like an ace bandage, or get one of those, get like your robe tie and just tie it around you, or if you're lucky and you got like a back brace, like one of those Velcro back brace, just strap it on, and you can walk around with it. And I would recommend, you're going to walk around with an ice pack at your low back, or sit around with it, bring it in the car with you, whatever. And so probably about 5 times a day, anywhere between 20 minutes to 45 minutes at a time. Take a little break off, which is take the ice pack off, let it be off for about maybe 10-20 minutes, and then put it back on again. So ice is always at the disc area because we're trying to shrink that. Now, where do we put heat? We can put heat down in them, because sometimes what it is it's the cramping of a muscle. So if it's a muscle problem, meaning the muscle is tight, that's what heat releases. Heat will make an inflamed disc worse, but cold will make a fatigued or muscle worse. So that's why many times people go, I tried this and it didn't work. Well, you did it wrong. Sorry. So what we do is we put ice at the source of the low back, and then put heat further away from that, further, like maybe on the butt cheek or down in the leg or something like that, where it's going to. We can even put heat off to the right of the back muscles. So put cold right directly in the center of the spine, and then off to the right or left or wherever it is. Then we can put heat right next to that. And what that does is then that softens up the muscle. And a lot of times that helps. Now, another thing is where does sciatica kind of come from? Well, sometimes it is an inflamed disc, and this is also why I recommend chiropractic. Or some body work, meaning come in to see me and I can help to move it around, because sometimes the spine needs to be decompressed. So decompression, there are some chiropractors out there that have these decompression machines and things like that, and those have saved so many people from a surgery that was indicated from sciatica. It's being crushed and you need to decompress it. I always recommend Dr. Tent, that is Diverse Health Systems. You can look him up, and he's my chiropractor. He's a great chiropractor, and he can really help people from sciatica, because if it's coming from the disc, then we got to get it off of the disc. And the first step is to anti-inflammatory and reduce the swelling, and then get it to move. Okay, this is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority. The number to call in is 313-272-5600, and I got another one here, and that one's on weight loss. It's more of kind of a general, and that's how I'm gonna talk about weight loss many times, because it's a very complicated issue and there are so many ins and outs to it. So you really just want to kind of take it in pieces. And each person has to have their right combination for the weight loss, and it's not the same. Now, I will tell you there are two things that throughout the history of recording weight loss had the highest amount of numbers in terms of these strategies have been the best, which is one is Weight Watchers. And Weight Watchers is just, what is Weight Watchers? I can cheat and give you this recipe for Weight Watchers right now, which is just be accountable. Be aware of everything that you eat, lower your carbs, eat fresher, and weigh yourself and monitor yourself. And just, again, it's accountability in watching it. And many times that's been very, very successful because people they just let it get away from them. But if you don't let it get away from you and you put your eye on it, again, like they say for a gymnastics, or they say for like a skier that does ski jumping and does 3 flips in the air, which is, how do I make sure I don't fall and break your neck? Well, just look at the ground. Wherever your eyes go, there your feet will follow. And so it's as simple as you just put your eyes on something, eyes on the prize. And then the second thing that has always been is what's called meal replacement. Now, Weight Watchers is a combination of that, but again, meal replacement, which is instead of eating a meal, replace it with a shake. Replace it with something that fills your belly up with volume, but very, very low calories. Now, there's a ton of shakes out there, and I'm very biased on the shakes because Premier Research Labs makes this, and again, their stuff is the cleanest. It is raw. So if a person were to eat food, what would be the best food to eat? Raw, uncooked, because it doesn't have any enzymes that are destroyed, and you don't even need to use your enzymes, so you need no energy to digest it. And then the other thing is with a shake or something like that, it has to be whole food nutrition. You do not want fake junk. And you also do not want whey isolates and stuff like that, because they have to chemicalize these things, and they're highly processed. And so Trim Body Whey, which Premier Research Labs, and it has all of these great whole foods, it's a perfect meal replacement that provides what's called macronutrients. It has enough nutrients as you would get from 2 plates of perfect food, but the calories are something like 90 calories. I like to add a couple things to that. Now, if you add a bunch of bananas and, other fruits and things like that, you're going to up the calories and you're going to up the sugar. And so just avoid that and just basically stick with it as pure as possible. It's just 5 scoops of the Trim Body Whey and some ice and some water, and put it in a blender. I like to add a couple other things, which is I like to add a scoop of the fermented beets, because that gives you your nitric oxide. And the more muscles that you build, the more it's going to eat the fat, and you lose weight by getting the nutrients that the body says, oh, I don't need this fat anymore, I can let it go. And so macronutrienture is there, lowering the calories, replacing a meal with a shake. I also like to add some of the fermented turmeric and ginger, because it's great for digestion. It's great for anti-inflammatory. Again, it's fermented. And I also like to add the fermented mushroom. So 1 scoop of each of these to the 5 scoops of the Trim Body Whey is so delicious. It tastes great. It fills you up. You're getting a great big huge glass, probably 20 ounces. So it'll fill your belly up. And literally you could do those 2-3 times a day and have maybe 1 meal, a very, very small meal, and bringing your calories down to very, very low, but your macronutrients up, meaning the guts that are in food. That's the secret to losing weight, is if you get the nutrients, but lower the calories, and then move your body. Okay, and you don't have to move a whole bunch, because just walking is so beneficial. You'll lose weight, you will. Now, you get some people that in the beginning, if their system is really messed up, they won't lose any weight, or they'll actually gain some weight. But give that time, because that's all about nutrients and minerals. The body has to catch up. And so you'll have many people that it's you know what, it took me a couple months of doing this, but then the tides turned and I started to do that. Okay. So we've got another one that we're going to go to here, and that one's on stomach ulcers. Boy, there's a lot of stomach ulcers out there, and yes, it's stress, and yes, it's all these different types of things, but let me tell you what it really is. So I think it was probably in about the 60s or 70s, probably closer to like the 80s when it really just became then solid knowledge out there in the medical world, which is what's eating holes in my stomach. So if you got a bleeding ulcer, which is very dangerous and things like that, well, how do these holes, is it your stomach acid that ate through it? That's the first thing. Well, but wait a minute, my stomach was made to contain the acid. The acid should not be eating through that. Well, what they found out is that 100% of the ulcers are coming from what's called H. pylori, Heliobacter pylori. It's a bacteria it's a bacterial infection. So again, if I sound like a broken record, it's infection, infection, infection. These foreign invaders, it's an alien invasion. It's Independence Day inside our body. And that's how we got it in the first place, is that now, how did we get that infection in the first place? That's another story, okay? But so first of all, it is the infection has infected the cells that build the lining of your stomach, meaning it protects the acid from actually touching your skin. So you got the slippery lining that your stomach always produces so that the acid never touches your flesh. It touches that layer first, and that layer sloughs off, but then it's reproduced. So killing the infection. So the most typical methods in terms of the medical doctors is they will put you on an antibiotic, and a specific antibiotic, and that will do it, and that will kill it, and then you will regrow those tissues back. And there's, again, if you've ever heard, there's some natural antibiotic things. There's some natural, oregano is awesome. Oil of oregano. I like this product called Biotics, which makes this what's called ADP, and you basically chew 4 of those capsules into like 4 bits. Basically, they're like a little chalk capsule, and you kind of bite them into like quarters, because most of the time they'll pass through your guts unchanged, and they'll come in the toilet, and like you just wasted it. So it's a very, very hard capsule, and it's a very time release. But what it does is it kills these bacteria. I've also found cabbage juice. So get a juicer, or you can go to, let's say, a Mediterranean restaurant that makes juices, and they'll have cabbage, or bring your own head of cabbage in there, or go to, let's say, a Salvation Army, and as I said in my last show, and I will say forever, they always have cheap juicers. You can get a cheap juice for $20 or something like that. You'll find people, so a lot of times they have friends. It's like, oh, I'm not using mine. You just juice probably a half of a head of cabbage, green cabbage in particular, and just drink that. And drink that throughout the day. This cabbage juice helps to repair and rebuild the lining. Okay. Alicidin, which is garlic, that is very, very, very helpful for killing the bacteria that will, the Heliobacter. There's another product which is called the Gastroven. You heard Dr. Marshall talk about that, and it's you make it as a tea, or you can even just take the capsules. But you make it as a tea, and what it does is it replaces the lining. It gives you a new lining. It's kind of like putting a new plastic bag in your garbage can. You know, when the guy comes and empties it out, he puts a new one so that you don't get stains and stuff all over your garbage can. So it's putting a new lining on the inside of the stomach. Now, let me go a little bit back. How did we get this bacteria in the first place? How did this happen? You didn't have enough stomach acid. Ooh, wait a minute, I thought I had too much stomach. No. So this Heliobacter is everywhere. This is a dust, these bacteria are all over the place. And when we eat foods, they go into our stomach, and our stomach secretes hydrochloric acid. So when your stomach is normal, and you have good hydrochloric acid production, if you eat food that even has some food poisoning, you've probably all noticed this before. If you went out to dinner and like 3 people, and you all ate the same food, 3 people got the food poisoning and the other 2 didn't. Well, what's the difference? They just had better digestion, which is they killed this bacteria in their stomach before it ever set up shop. So how did we get low hydrochloric acid? Low salt. Not enough sea salt, not enough salt in our body, because we produce hydrochloric acid, which is HCl. H is the hydrogen part, and that's in water. H2O, there's hydrogen everywhere. And then Cl, that's in salt, which is sodium chloride, NaCl, and sea salt has a whole bunch of other minerals, but its main mineral is NaCl. Our body does this wonderful chemistry process. Like we're like a mad scientist on the inside, and our body basically breaks apart these molecules and takes a chloride fraction and unites it with a hydrogen, and that's how we build salt. So children and things like that, ever since we have a repository of it, but if you don't get enough salt, then you will run out of the ability to make your own cement, make your own HCl. And so then you're completely dependent upon an outside source. So it started by people's hydrochloric acid getting too low because of the propaganda that salt is bad. Sodium's bad, salt is not bad. If you don't have enough salt, nothing works. I will harp on it again and again and again. And it's handing right in front of your face. Ask any person who is a marathon runner or does the Ironmans and say, what do you think about salt? They're like, I would die without it. I would die without salt. If I run and run and run and drink this water and I do not replace my salt, I've seen it. These guys passed out and these guys died on the road because their heart stopped because they didn't have enough salt. So salt is so critically important. Again, if you get picked up by the paramedic, what's the first thing that they do when they put in your arm if they find you on the floor or you had they stick a sodium drip in your arm in order to stabilize you. So it's so critical it's an electrolyte for your electricity. It's for you to run everything. So the stomach problems, the digestive problems can oftentimes come from not having enough salt in our diet ever since we were little kids. And then as we get older, you know what, this is bad, I don't use it. I agree, get rid of the table salt. That whole junk table salt, put it on your sidewalk, don't put it in your body, right? So you want a good sea salt, okay? Another thing with stomach ulcers, and in just general, stop drinking pop. Stop, and even the diet pop. You know what's been shown? People go, I drink that diet pop because it helps me to lose. Look at people that drink diet pop. They are fatter than the people that drink the normal pop. They really are. And now look at the guys that drink the Mountain Dew, the gamers. They're either big fat gamers or they're really skinny. And they're carb addicted. It's so dangerous. And their bones, you look at the guys that have done Mountain Dew, like for instance, that have worked on like road crews or something like that, and they live off of Mountain Dew. They get very wrinkled very quickly. They're skinny and wrinkled. Again, I'm telling you, it was their bones dissolved because they were so acidic and they were so problematic that and also the pop will dissolve your bones, but it will be really hard on your stomach. It kills that lining. So the carbonated pops, the sugary pops, even just the carbonated drinks, they really do mess the whole stomach up. So this is Jason Eagle, QRA, your Natural Health Authority. You can call into the show, 313-272-5600. I'm going to take one more commercial break and we'll be back.
The materials and information provided in this broadcast are for informational purposes only and are not intended for use as diagnosis, prevention, or treatment of a health or other problem, or as a substitute for consulting a licensed medical professional. Some concepts presented herein may be theoretical and have little or no scientific substantiation. Users are advised to conduct their own diligence.
All right, everybody, we are back and looking for some more phone calls, but I've got more questions here. I can keep going. This is one of the things that people say about me. It's like, you just don't stop. You just keep going and going and going, and I can. I've been doing this for 25 years. This has been my career. I've dedicated my life to it, and part of it is because it works. And also because, it's natural. I am so on the side of natural. Who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't want to do something natural? Who wouldn't want to, wouldn't it be great if you could find it in your backyard and you wouldn't have to pay for it? Wouldn't it be great if you could just produce it in your own body by the way that you feel? Wouldn't it be great if you could just sleep it off and wake up and have sleep be your healing juice? That's what's natural. Wouldn't it be great if you could, I'm a little bit weak, instead of getting coffee, go out and put your bare feet on the ground and stand there for about 20 minutes and you energize your body, recharge. That's the way we're designed. And I'm telling you, the research that on all these things in terms of, including what's called grounding and what's called charge distribution, or the latest in science is really this ultra science, which is like, we need to rethink all science. This is an electric universe. What's called the electric universe scientists are rethinking and reshaping. And guess what that means? We are in the center of it. We are the most spectacular electromagnetic being. We recharge our body from the environment. We can recharge our body, our healing process, from our own thoughts. The empirical evidence, the double-blind university-controlled studies that's been done on prayer, that's been done on affirmations, on healthy thinking, on you can think your way into now. But if you're really deep into eating really poorly and things like that, people that want to use prayer and things like that, that's cheating. I'm sorry, but it is. Because God would have you be body, mind, and soul all on the same page. And if you are eating junk and eating falsely, and because again, it's just as simple as false food and real food, then you're not going to necessarily get that, because it's not the whole thing. Because God would have you have the whole thing. So we need to get this body under control, and then let this body be natural. And natural is not to completely control it, but the first step is you got to get control of it. If the car's weaving all over the road, get control of it, and then set it back in cruise control. And cruise control, again, people go, what's the diet? You want to find something that works for what you do. So what I do is when I bring you in here, I will determine, and I use all of these tools. I'll figure your diet out. I'll figure out what works best for you in your diet, and you go home and you try it. And most people are so blown away, because it's like, oh my goodness, like, I saved money. You didn't cost me money, you actually saved me money. Okay, so we work on the food. We work on behaviors like your sleep pattern. Did you know that you could put blackout curtains and get your TV and mirrors out of your bedroom, and you will sleep so much better, and then your health will be so much better? Most people didn't know that. Yeah, mirrors. Get mirrors out of your bedroom. The Hebrews, the Jews know this, which is, it's like, don't do that. Don't look at yourself inside that. You don't want this thing. And there's also science behind it in terms of the rays that are shining into your room. Get the TVs out of there, because these things, you turn them off, they're still on. They're still recording you, and then they're sending waves, and they're the black mirror. You do not want them in your bedroom, because they will mess up your sleep. And then, like I said, blackout curtains. Blackout curtains, you can buy them on, eBay or whatever, and basically so that your room is pitch black. Like, even turn your clock around so that you can't have the light shining in your face, because your eyes pick up on, even behind your closed eyes, you pick up on the wavelengths of light. And most people, our brains have been so messed up because we are in these artificial lights all the time. And the flicker of the TV messes your brains up. The blue wave that comes out, so this whole research on what's called blue light, that totally messes your brains up. And then the fluorescent lights, those things are vibrating at these, and the LED lights are really, really harmful for your brain. What that means is many people are living in a jet-lagged life their whole life. Meaning, you fly to Asia, like, you'll be up for 3 days because your body thinks it's midnight when it's, morning time. That's what's called circadian rhythms, and these lights mess up your circadian rhythms. So turn the lights off and basically go on a fast from these artificial lights, and that will help to rewire your brain. And then you do that, like I said, take all of the lights and all the electronics out of the bedroom, and then put blackout curtains. Now here's the little secret, which is, how do you get back into natural rhythms? What you do is you watch the calendar, and you're looking for the full moon, because what you want to do is you want to open up the curtains and let the light in. Now, you're sleeping behind your eyes, but your eyes pick up on it. You want the night before, so it's 3 nights in a row that you leave the curtains. That's the only time that the only time that light comes into the room is the night before a full moon, the night of a full moon, and the night after a full moon. 3 nights in a row, and you close them back up again. And I guarantee you, after about 3 months of doing this, you will notice such a huge difference in your life, a huge difference in your mood, a huge difference in your memory, a huge difference in your energy levels, because now you are getting what you're supposed to be getting in sleep, and you're repairing the damage, and you're also getting back into the cycles of life, which is, You know, we are supposed to be on this calendar of the wavelengths of nighttime and daytime, and also with the lunar cycles, because these, what does the Bible say? These lights are set into the sky, the sun and the moon, for times and for seasons, so that your body knows where you're at and knows what to do. And it regulates digestion, it regulates mood. I'll tell you, any cop will tell you that, like, you know, the full moon, if you own a bar or if you're a cop, like, you'll know. You marking up, because, like, be ready to be on overtime, because everyone goes nuts. You know who goes nuts? It's the bugs that's inside of people. You know, the alcoholics that rage and fight on a full moon. What is it? It's the bacterias and the yeast and the parasites that are living inside their body that are kind of, it's like the voodoo drums go off and they go nuts. And so it's not even really the alcohol, because you can have this from people who don't even drink alcohol. It's just they get squirrely. You'll see a lot of fights and families and things like that around this time. Well, because everyone's completely disconnected. So by the sleeping pattern and getting rid of these false lights, now the full moon will make you feel better. Now you'll look forward to the full moon and you don't have this Dr. Jekyll stuff going on. And this is we have been kind of divorced from what our natural world is. But the natural world is there for us. It always has been. And I'm here to help you figure it out, because modern man has really been duped from the wisdom of the ages, but we're getting it back. And the wisdom of the ages is the true healing things are free and they're all around you. Now, sometimes be prepared to spend some money, because in the beginning you're in such deep state, you better call the tow truck to get you out of that ditch, right? And it's money well spent. But then now you're on your own, and then you go on the road, and that's the wonderful thing, is that eating correctly and living correctly and behaving correctly gives you so many dividends back. And we don't need this system to be there to be our only saving grace, which is you become your own system, you become your own knowledge. All right, we're going to take another question here, and okay, so this one's on what's called lipomas. We just got a few more minutes here. If someone wants to call in, the number is 313-272-5600. This is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority. A lipoma. What are lipomas? A lot of people that have them, they know what it is. A lipoma, it's these little fatty deposits. It's these little, feels like a tumor, and it is a tumor, but it's you know, most of the doctors, like, say a person has this thing that's growing. It's a nodule that grows anywhere in your body, and they can grow anywhere. I've seen them grow on people's skulls. I've seen them grow on their arms. I see a lot on arms and legs and stuff like that. And the doctor will look at it and they'll go, it's just a lipoma, which is, we're not even going to operate on it. We're not even going to take it out, because you'll regrow it again. And number one, it's an unnecessary surgery, because if it's not causing you pain, just leave it. A lot of times they do go away. But what are they? They are, so lipoma, anything that is or lipid, that means it's fat. Okay, it's fat. So it's a fat, what's called a fatty deposit. Well, how did it get there? Because of all the bad fats that we've been eating, congested fats in the liver. Now, the Chinese, again, I'm always American medicine and quantum physics. And so the Chinese really mapped the body out very well. And they created they're discovered how God created this body, and there are parts of our body that are related to different organs that Western medicine has not made the connection to. But if you do what the Chinese talk about, take these particular herbs, eat these particular foods, do these particular type of things, if you have this, it fixes it. So congested liver, meaning we've ate a lot of the bad fats. And if that's all the fat that your body is getting, then your body will say, okay, fine, I'll use this. I will live off of styrofoam if I have to. So the fried fats, the hydrogenated oils, these types of things, they get congested in the liver, and then the body then starts to send these things throughout the system, and then they will grow in like little tumor areas, okay? So number one, start cutting out the bad fats. Really start getting back to the natural fats, which is olive oil, olives, coconut oil, these types of things. If you're going to cook with the oil, and don't do fried stuff. Rarely do fried stuff, because it really damages the oil. But then there's the oily foods, the fatty foods, which is that's going to be like cashews and avocados in the plant-based world. That's going to be like grass-fed beef and farm-raised eggs and things like that. Fish, the salmon, the tuna, the sardines, the mackerel. These are awesome and the good healthy fats. DHA, if you want to take it in like a pill form, to really get a super high potent dose. Now, many times people have a lot of difficulty with digesting the fats. And if we do have congested liver, we have lipomas, you should go on lecithin. Lecithin will uncongest the fat in the liver and inside the bloodstream. And it will literally start to eat these lipomas because it will dissolve them. Lecithin is an emulsifier, emulsifies dissolve fat. It would also take the limonene and take it internally, 2 to 3 drops in some water with everything you eat, because now then you will be able to dissolve the fats and they won't just stay congealed and clommed. Now also too, locally, if we want to dissolve these lipomas, meaning I want to shrink them, the doctor said he's not going to take, but they're kind of unsightly and they bother me. What you do is you mix neem oil, which you can get this from me, neem oil and limonene, and then you put it on like a gauze pad and you tape it on overnight over the area. You do it a few nights in a row and you'll start to notice that they will diminish, they will shrink. Now going back to the whole liver thing, which is we need to clean your liver out. So eating the good fats, that's stopping the liver from getting jammed up, but it's not really cleaning the liver out. Now the lecithin does clean the liver, but I would also go on some really great liver herbs. The liver ND and the gallbladder ND, these are things like milk thistle and similarian and all these other great nanized gold coin. This is some Chinese herbs, things like that. What they do is they will heal the liver. Turmeric, but fermented turmeric, because a lot of people take the turmeric pill, but if it's not been prepared in the right way, cooked or fermented, you're wasting most of the turmeric. It's not working at all. So that's what, again, like I said, if you want to get these things to diminish, and same thing you can do with a wart. You can tape a Band-Aid that's been soaked in the neem and the limonene and just tape that on a wart. And just pick one wart, because even if you have multiple warts all over the body, if you treat one, because it's a virus, and the neem is antiviral, and it will go in there, and then what it will do is it will send a signal throughout your whole body that basically it's kind of like a go away signal, and you'll notice that all of the warts will go away in your body. So the neem and the limonene oil, you can tape on some different types of things on your body, especially these lipomas, to make them go away. Also, skin tags. Skin tags, you can tape this thing too. Neem oil and limonene, and just tape it overnight on a skin tag. And you will watch this diminish. You will watch them shrink back up, and you don't even have to cut them off or pull them off. Why? What are skin tags? Most of the skin tags these are viruses. They are actually viral type of things. That's why you can see that people have certain viruses. They'll have these bumps all over the body. Or like, for instance, the HPV virus, you'll see people get these warts. Or there's certain HPV, like the tree people, like will look like their name. That's all HPV. Like the people in India that have like these just covered in these like woody wart type of things. They look inhuman. That is a virus. And it's gotten through their whole bloodstream. And so getting on some good antiviral type of things. A great antiviral thing too is the antiviral diet, which is eating foods that are high in lysine and low in arginine. Lysine foods would be, yes, the milk products, especially the fermented dairy and cheeses and things like that. Now, some people struggle with that and they can't have it, but the meats are high in lysine. Vegetables are high in lysine. There's a lot of good, not potatoes are not, but corn is not. So you want to avoid the arginine foods. But then there's some fruits too. So there's some fruits that are very high in lysine. That would be mango. Mango is very high in lysine. Pineapple's very high in lysine, low in arginine, and so the ratio is just right. The antiviral diet, go online and look that up. If people tend towards the HPV and some of these other things, they get the skin tags and the warts. That's an indication that you've got some deep buried viral type of thing, and virus is hard to deal with, so you got to stay on top of it. Olive leaf. We sell a product called just olive leaf itself, or you can also get it in what's called Immunoven. olive leaf, like that is so powerful for viruses and things like that. So, this is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority. You can go to my website, that's strategichealing.us, and you can go to my Facebook page, that is Strategic Healing. Also, Jason Eagle, I have 2 Facebook pages, and you can check out I post some things and pictures about my farm and things like that. I know where I speak because I go the full 9 yards on this whole thing. I live it in my life, and I'm having a wonderful time. If you want to come into the office and come see me, you can go to my website, strategichealing.us, go up to the top, and there is the schedule button, or give me a call, 734-985-5891, and I'd love to talk to you and get you into the office and see how I can help you, because I know that I can help you. So, all right, until next time, I look forward to talking to you again. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Thank you. You too. Say that again. Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah, I hear a lot of people that say that. And again, that's the thing is there's so much stuff that's all around us that we really should not be in as much trouble as we are, and I can help us. I can help us get out of trouble. So, and you're gonna get it. You're gonna get all these nuggets because you're gonna be there listening. So. All right. Thank you. You as well. Okay. Bye-bye. It is God who always okay. Facebook. I'm getting ready to go, but that was the you couldn't hear that probably, but that was the radio announcer guy, the guy that's always listening. He brings in the callers and stuff like that, and he's doing the commercials and stuff like that. But he said that was really informative. Like I learned so much. And usually the guys that are listening to you, they don't say that. They're just kind of like because they just do this all day long. But it was nice, and you got some value from that. And it was nice to actually get a phone call from you, Carol. I don't know if you're right there, but I know you watch these things. Shannon, hey, good to see you, Shannon. Tammy Sheldon, went to high school with you. It's good to see you guys. Send more questions in. It's not that I'm struggling for a question. I just like to have a lot to work with. And then pass this on. Don't forget to share this with your friends, because there's something in this for everyone, including me. There's a lot of times, like, I'm just like this guy too. Like, I really needed to hear that myself. Like, I'm struggling with some viral stuff right now. And again, this is just what's happening to everybody. Get ready for it, because these things comes in waves, and the wave is on right now. But I will remind people that none of this inside our body is out to kill us and hurt us. It's just designed to I'm here to make you what you are supposed to be. And you can't unless you get some stress. Like, you don't passively work out. You have to work out, and you have to stress it in order to get it to respond. And the response to stress is a rebuilding phase and a remodeling phase, and all of these things that we deal with, even in media and the mind virus of politics and of fake news and real news, which is fake news and blah, blah, blah. What's the real? Okay, you're the real. Be the real. And but it's all about strength. If you can, so sometimes, like, I am big on just stay home and stay in bed if you have to. Take your time that you need to, and schedule lightly, and schedule your time in. And I know if you got a job you got to get to, but like as soon as you get home, like eat what you got to eat and then go to bed. I even have to say this to myself. Thank God I have a wife that is like, I'm telling you, Jason, you need to do this. Yes, honey, yes. And I do, and I listen. Sometimes you don't have to tell me, and and all this stuff. But I thank you. Thank you, Katie. You really do help, and I do listen to you. I do listen to you, and you're there to help me. And I'm doing my homeopathic. I'm doing my what is it? Chickenpox 6X, chickenpox 6X, chickenpox 6X. And I'll explain that to you people later about how we can do this and how it works. You're sending in a vibration, and you're also talking about sick sex, which is these things living inside you. Six is sex. Sex is six. And that's what we're sending into, is the wave inside our body to say, you guys are having an orgy inside of me. Get out of here. It's like the cats that are, viruses and bacteria are kind of like that, like the cats that are caterwauling outside going, "Meow," making all these noise because they're getting down and getting busy, and, that's what's happening. And so homeopathics work that way in terms of it calls its name out. And it literally says, I see you, and this is wrong, and you have to move on, and you have to stop reproducing inside me, because I'm not a habitable environment for you. I'm sending the light in. The cats will do it in the dark. They will not do it if you turn the light on. You turn the light on, they're like, they'll scatter. That's what homeopathic works. That's what a lot of these natural supplements work, because they're bringing in a resonance in. They're bringing in an energy, a higher vibration. Sometimes it's a lower vibration too. So a lot of times we all want higher. No, you want to get on both ends of it, which is in sometimes the lowered vibration. So sometimes too, if you're really way off and too spacey, you need something to bring you down. And, for that's where the meat and the milk and some other types of things, and even lower vibration type of thinking, which is not the pie in the sky stuff, but the just basic type of, nature. Low nature, the ground, get down to the ground. Many times people would heal. It's like a kid. They just got down on the ground and got down on all fours and just looked at the ground and looked at the grass and looked at the ants and things like that and touched it and felt it and got to the base of the tree and touched that tree and felt that tree and felt the energy from the ground. Feel it in your chest. I think that there's many times cats and dogs and children are much healthier because they are on the ground and they roll their body around the ground, which you'll see me like a dog sometimes do that in my own house as I roll around the ground and I do my own type. I build forts still. Like literally my wife, like I was having a really bad day and she found me in my music room, which is next to the bedroom, and I built a little fort and I had my guitar in there and I was just like, woe is me. But it was like, I made a little fort and she come in and she, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. And okay, do you need me to bring you any, a little glass of water? And she brought me a glass of water and I healed and I felt better. And that's low. That's low because you're never too old to do those things. Don't be too highfalutin and too big for your britches that you forget who you are and you forget that, what comforted you as a child is still going to comfort you. And if you were never comforted as a child, find that comfort and you will find the comfort. You're never too old to get, like, that's why, Disney was made from the perspective, like, get down as a little child and you'll see that everything, the Imagineers made it from that perspective. And you as an adult, wow, this is beautiful. You have no idea how beautiful it is. Get down to that level of, a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old child. And then you'll see what it looks like. And so it's designed for that. So sometimes get in those positions. Sometimes sing in the shower. Sometimes, those basic little songs. I'm getting to be a broken circuit here. So I will see you next time, Facebook. Thanks for my radio show. And keep the comments coming in. And love you. Bye.